Hi, I heard a business professor say that it's a real problem that business schools are only teaching the dry technical parts of business and not teaching the heart of what business and entrepreneurship should be. That's what my webinar is about. She Who Sees Far, cutting edge workshops for women that are outside the traditional business thought, using my 7 Keys to Kicking Butt Leadership for Women signature system. Not only teaching what they don't in business school, but doing it from the female perspective, not the masculine system that we've been taught is the only way. Now, one of the frustrations of women in business is trying to fit ourselves into the established and regimented masculine system of how businesses are run. These systems were set up during the days when men went to work and women stayed home, and so women's natural way of managing is often excluded in this more masculine system. That leaves women yearning to fill the spiritual part of themselves, to live a deeper, more meaningful life, even at work. Let me tell you a powerful story about a group of 12 women who threw out the rule book about the right way to do things, the masculine business way, and created an award-winning tourist attraction in such a short time frame that all of the men said it was impossible to do it. We had a 20% unemployment rate in our poor rural county in northern Minnesota. Our dream was to build a village out in the forest where each building would represent a handcraft: pottery, woodworking, stained glass, candle dipping, etc. It would be a tourist attraction for the area, would employ people, and would create a marketplace for the wonderful handcrafts made in the area. Now, we were just ordinary women, teachers and nurses and community volunteers who knew nothing of what we were going to be attempting to do. But we had a dream and went for it. We bought 67 acres of wilderness that had no infrastructure. We had to build a road, bring in electricity, dig a septic system, drill a well, build 8 cottages and a restaurant, hire and train 60 people to work in the shops, find 200 crafters who did high-quality work, create an inventory system, and then display the goods in the shops. And we did all that from the day we broke ground to the day we opened in an impossible 5 weeks and 5 days. Now here's the thing. As women, we weren't part of the Good Old Boy Network. We didn't know the right way, so we created our own ways. I'm firmly convinced that if we had done this project the way men traditionally manage things, it would never have been built in that short amount of time. But we were women and created our own ways of working fast, of nurturing employees, and I teach those systems. Would you like to know my insider secrets of how I went from 8 years in a 2-room grade school in a poor rural town and graduated from a tiny high school in a class of only 15, and yet went from that limited beginning to being inducted into the Minnesota Women Business Owners Hall of Fame? Now, I tell you that not to brag, but to emphasize that women put their own limitations on themselves. I became a serial entrepreneur. Because I had no business training, I developed innovative systems for running my businesses, teaching myself things that they don't teach you in business school, and developing a female way of running businesses, rather than blindly following the masculine way. How do I know your fears? I started 2 businesses, one in my basement that grew to selling to 6,000 stores. The other was a tourist attraction that had 100,000 visitors every year. I had 145 employees to manage. My business also had recession ups and downs, so I totally understand the fears and frustrations you face because I walked the same walk you're on. I can guide you through those frustrations because there hasn't been much that I haven't gone through and survived, both in business and personally. Needing to create a strong team around me, hiring and firing problems, dealing with competitors swiping my best ideas, losing my business in a fire one hot August night, and even watching a business slowly shrink during an economic downturn. During those tumultuous times created by outside forces, I was also going through a divorce, raising two small children on my own, dealing with a flooded home filled with dangerous mold, and recovering from a traumatic brain injury. Yet the systems I developed for dealing with all those things kept me centered and able to cope. I want to help you to cope with this fast-moving world by sharing the innovations I taught myself that worked beautifully in my two businesses and in my life. Join me for a free webinar where you'll go away with tips that you can use immediately in your life and in your business. I'm having two webinars, one on Thursday, October 10th at 7:30 p.m. and the other October 12th at 7 p.m. So please join me for one of those. I'm looking forward to seeing you.